she's got coming up with. And I am super excited about that and about having her on the show. I know the chat has been asking for Tiffany for a while. So your wish is our command. Now, so with all that's happening out there, I know what the world kind of feels like to you guys right now. And it's basically this.
Because there is so much about this moment that is trying to make people feel like they've lost their mind. When in fact, these motherfuckers are crazy.
I think this whole administration has completely lost their fucking mind! And I think we're all gonna die!
I mean, pretty much that's how everybody feels, right? Like, I kind of feel like that's how everybody is feeling right now. And that is why I think you're seeing these massive protests that all over the country. They're just some of them. I mean, they're huge. They're everywhere. This is just 3 cities, New York City, Minneapolis, and Philadelphia, but they've been really everywhere in response to the shooting death, the killing of Renee Good. As you look at just those incredible images of the protests that have been all over the country, I will note that her killer, ICE agent Jonathan Ross, who weirdly enough is married to a Filipina, you can't make it up, has a Give, Send, Go fundraiser promoted by right-wing Alpha News, which is the same outlet that released his cell phone video of shooting Renee Good and then calling her a dumb B word as he casually walked away from a scene where MAGA insists he was run over by her car. That fundraiser has already crossed north of $200,000 and drawn attempts to block it by, normal people who think he actually should be charged with murder. And per conservative leading media site Mediaite, his online fundraiser frames Ross as a heroic law enforcement officer acting in self-defense during a chaotic encounter. The page has attracted attention not just for high-profile supporters like Megyn Kelly, who's given to the fund, as well as hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman, the anti-DEI guy, of course, but also for copy in the fundraiser that portrays the shooting as an act of valor against, quote, domestic terrorism, while casting Minneapolis as a lawless sanctuary city. I mean, it is a sanctuary city, but it's not lawless. But the language goes further per Mediaite by singling out the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, and singling out the fact that he's Jewish, while blaming his criticism of ICE for allegedly inciting violence. CNN's Jake Tapper noticed it, and posted on X Twitter, linking to the promotion of the fundraiser by Alpha News and asking simply, why does this mention that Mayor Frey is Jewish? One wonders why. I think we can all figure out what this man is trying to do. There's some other additional reporting out there that talks about his past defense of white nationalist kind of memes and things, that he has said some things in the past that indicate that he might be sympathetic to those things. I don't have that additional reporting, but that is stuff that our next guests can probably get into. Meanwhile, here is some truly alarming reporting from our friend Lev Parnas on his Substack, which, quote, I'm going to quote Lev directly. And this is Lev speaking on his Substack. Quote, I'm hearing directly from a source with firsthand access to conversations inside Trump's inner circle, including Donald Trump himself and Stephen Miller. And I want to be crystal clear about this part. These are their words, not mine. This is Lev again. My source tells me there is outrage inside Trump world, not because an American citizen was killed, not because a mother of 3 is dead, not because the country is hurting, but because this case does not fit the narrative that they were counting on. The disbelief being expressed, including, according to my source, is that this was not a Black woman, not a brown woman, not an undocumented immigrant. They are openly discussing how much harder it is to spin, how much harder it is to provoke chaos, how much harder it is to justify a crackdown when the victim is a white American woman with no criminal record. Again, their word, not mine, per Lev. What they're talking about, Lev writes, what they're talking about right now is not unity, not protecting American citizens, not accountability. They are talking about how to steer the narrative, how to redirect outrage, how to manufacture fear, and how to push propaganda hard enough to achieve one overriding goal: power without limits. They want riots. They need riots. They are counting on violence because violence gives them permission. This is why provocateurs are being pushed into places like Minneapolis. This is why online agitators are trying to inflame tensions. We did see the other day a group of real protesters following a guy who burned an American flag and then bounced. Like he was pretending to be part of the protest, and he burned an American flag, and then he took off, and he was followed by some of the actual protesters who said, hey, why did you leave? Why are you wearing a full mask? That's not normal behavior if you're one of the protesters. Who are you actually? Are you an accelerationist? Are you trying to cause trouble? Because that's what it looked like to them. And this did happen, by the way, during the Black Lives Matter movement. After George Floyd was killed, there were all these huge protests in the street, and accelerationists, people who were trying to cause chaos, would show up to the protests and break windows. They would break a window wearing all black. They would be wearing all black and a face mask. They would break a bunch of windows and then bounce, and then try to make it look like the Black Lives Matter protesters were the ones who broke the windows. They were the ones causing violence, but they would cause the violence, right? This is a thing that they do on the right to try to make it appear that peaceful protests are actually violent. So Lev Parnas, let me go back to what he wrote. He said, this is why every lever of disinformation is being pulled at once. Chaos is not a failure for them. It is the mechanism, because chaos is how they sell Project 2025. Chaos is how they justify emergency powers. Chaos is how they silence opposition, which is why they are escalating.
What's going on? What's up with you? Watch out, man. What y'all on with me? I don't know what they on with me, bro. I got cameras. Y'all tweaking. You got the right to what? Y'all got the right to what? I got cameras.
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone.
Sir, settle down.
Anybody in the car? Did you take a picture of my license plate? Can we call anyone for you?
Over here, hon.
Are you okay? What's your name?
Back up, please. Back up.
You doing all right?
Huh? I'm not doing all right.
What's that?
I'm not doing all right. I'm not doing all right.
I can't hear
Back
what
up.
you're saying. What's that?
Yo. See that? Look, they're recording. They're here. What y'all doing? Yo, back up.
What's that?
You good?
Oh, absolutely.
Your face.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Back up. I'm walking here. Back up.
Like that. Do the show.
Hey, that's not a nice guy.
I don't give a fuck.
Good.
Fuck you and fuck all y'all. What you gonna do?
Hey, you guys American citizens?
Fuck you.
Huh?
American citizens?
None of your business. That's what.
There's a wall there.
Fuck you.
All right.
Fuck every single one of y'all. Look at that.
I'm gonna get a pic. Hold on.
Go ahead, take a pic right there.
We get one of this guy here. Appreciate
That.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Hey, don't touch him. Don't touch him. What are you doing? Come on. Yo.
I work it, bro.
Yeah, he works it. Look at that.
Fuck you. Fuck you. What? Fuck you.
Look at that. Look, they're grabbing him. Look, they're grabbing him. Yo,
What's your name?
What's your name?
Jonathan Aguilar Garcia. I'm literally a U.S. citizen.
Plate number for driving erratically, very dangerous to the public. How you doing?
Good, how about
You're
you?
interfering with our operations.
Not
You
at all.
could be arrested
Not at
under
all.
18
Not
USC
doing that.
111.
Nope. Not
We will
not
arrest
interfering.
you.
Not if
You have
not
been
interfering.
interfering with our operations.
You were following us yesterday.
Numerous
Watch
times.
what you're doing, dude.
Numerous times you've
Not
been interfering
interfering.
with our operations.
Not interfering.
Yes, you are.
No, I am not.
If you
Never got in
continue,
front of you.
you will be in handcuffs. You will be arrested. You will be
18
prosecuted.
U.S. Code 111. Get that through your head,
That's
dude.
a lot of numbers you just remember.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm not breaking the law and you fucking know it.
Yes, you are.
Not breaking the law
you are.
and you fucking know it. Never got in front of everyone, never.
One more time and I will put you in handcuffs.
Bro.
One more time.
Bro.
Keep it up.
Step the fuck off, you piece
No,
of shit.
no, I'll
Yeah.
stand right here, pal. Right here all
And
day.
if I fucking touch you, then you're gonna fucking arrest me.
Right all day.
Yeah, fuck you.
You are worthless.
Fuck you.
Worthless.
Fuck you.
You are.
Fuck you.
You have
Yeah.
no honor.
Hold your fucking dogs back. Hold your fucking.
There was also an unk who went at these guys and called them the biggest B words that he's ever seen, and if he's ever seen one. I thought we had that video, but we don't have it. But it was great. He was in a fur, and he was in a full fur coat, and is a Vietnam veteran who gave it to him. And actually, it might be in this video because they've also not gotten the riots that they want, but they are getting confronted. They're getting opposition. Take a look.
Let me see your document. You're actually border patrol. I don't have to show you. How do I know you're a U.S. citizen? It can go two ways. I can take you. Where were you born? Where were you born? Africa? Are you a U.S. citizen or you got naturalized? U.S. You're naturalized? What year? Out of our city! I'm not gonna get out of your city, number one. Yes, get the out. Yes, you clearly. Oh, what does that say? Border Patrol. Yeah, you're a Nazi. You work for the orange fascists in chief. Yeah. Get the out of our city, you Nazi piece of shit. Number one, I'm not gonna get out of your city because I live here. Oh, you want to make? You want to make? Okay, good for you. Good for you. You want to make lampshades out of people's skin? Oh yeah, you Nazi piece of shit. Shades out of people's skin. Yeah, get the out. Get out.
Why is it so important for you guys to be out here?
My dad fought in World War II, in Battle of Bulge. He'd be rolling in his grave to see what's happened to America now. And America needs to hold up a mirror to see what we've become. This is just so un-American to see Americans assaulting Americans like this. And these people here is what's America, protesting the brutality of what's happening in their cities and streets. And we felt, we'd never seen border agents before. We took the light rail down from downtown, we lived downtown. And we were trying to protest what happened yesterday, that bloody shooting, but then to see what border agents are like. And this is our first exposure to border agents. Pushed down the snowdrift. You know, we weren't part of anything, aggressively assaulted, and like, okay, that's what this is. That's what Border Patrol are. And they want fear. They want to project that intimidation. And that's frightening for all of America.
Give a little bit more. A little bit more.
You guys are all bitches. You can't do shit to me. You can't do a thing to me. Get the out of here. Get the out. Nobody fucking wants you here. Right, get the out. Bunch of bitches.
Right here.
You heard it from me.
White supremacists.
That's right.
People.
I hope you can see through those thick-ass glasses that you fucked up. You stand there and sanction this bullshit, and they kill a woman.
They're ruining businesses that have been here for generations. They're fucking up this community. You can go home safe, but no, you're here to terrorize this city. A bunch of bitches if I've ever seen a bunch. And I'm telling you to your face, and if you don't like it, fuck you.
Pardon the cussing, but I had to show thank you. I'm glad that clip was there. Freedom News TV, big up to them. CBC News, BT Newsroom, all the independent media who are capturing what's happening. It's giving Night Riders of the Ku Klux Klan, but meets the Black Panthers. Because what's happening is people are not responding to the terrorism that is being inflicted. You see the intensity with which these people are marauding communities. As J.D. Vance promised, they're going door to door. They're banging on people's doors. They're knocking out people's car windows, dragging people out into the streets. It's almost as if they are sort of renegade marauding through communities, trying to, as Lev Parnas reported, get people to react violently to them. It's as if they want people to react violently to them, stepping in front of cars, wanting to be confronted so that they can then get violent. But what's happening is the terroristic tactics are not making people more fearful. They're actually prompting people to fight back. Joining me now, former Metro police officer, author, analyst, and January 6th hero, Michael Fanone. Paul Butler, Albert Brick Professor in Law at Georgetown University Law Center, and the aforementioned Lev Parnas. Thank you all for being here. Lev, I've quoted your Substack, so I am going to start with you because the accelerationism that we saw during the Black Lives Matter protests, or when a couple of accelerations would show up, break a window, create chaos to make it look like the BLM folks were violent. But now it appears the accelerationists are ICE, who I will note their training was reduced to 47 days, halved to 47 days in honor of Donald Trump. Your thoughts?
I mean, Joy, thanks for having me. It's just crazy what I was hearing today when I was on the phone and listening to. I mean, it all started off when, I was speaking to one of my sources and talking about finding out what Trump's reaction was to the peaceful protests, because yesterday what we saw was incredible, restrained, incredible protests, people coming out across the country, letting their voices be heard, but doing it in a peaceful manner and staying away from the protesters like Nick Sorter and others that I've documented that have actually driven their cars into some of these protests to agitate, and that's when I heard when he started telling me about what was going on inside the White House, how they're watching this like basically a reality show and using words like I said, it's their words, not mine, quoting, saying waiting for that George Floyd moment, George Floyd riot, and waiting for that acceleration to be able to show, words like show them the might of the American power. The left has not seen that, like talking about the left like we're not American citizens, like we're not equal to them, like it's a different group. And the reason why I decided to write that letter is because a lot of people think that this is a black or brown matter and I want to make sure people wake up, because this is not a black or brown or undocumented matter, because we're all, as Americans, do not fit in their role of what Project 2025 is about. It's about a group of small percentage of white nationalists, Christian nationalists, and I mean Christian nationalists, not all Christians, but this group of people, which majority of Americans don't fit into that mold, because most of are either immigrants or come from a different mode. So
let me ask you before, I'm not going to interrupt you, but
no, go ahead.
Wrote that this plan, which you're laying out, was interrupted because Renee Good happens to be a white Christian mom. Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, exactly. I quoted, I said, this wasn't, one of the person, I don't know if it's Stephen Miller or somebody said this wasn't supposed to be a white American mom, meaning that, with the ICE raids and the targeting they're doing there, if this was, they were hoping that this would be either a black or brown. Again, I want to say clearly, I'm not saying that Donald Trump wanted to have somebody killed or wanted somebody shot, but the use of the moment, kind of, if this was an undocumented, if this was a black or brown woman, that they felt that that's when they would be able to go. What they weren't able to do in the first administration is go after the BLM organization, go after people, start putting it agitators, like they tried to go after Antifa, which doesn't exist. Right. But BLM, they were trying to go after, and that's why if it was a black or brown or undocumented, they felt the riots would be, not the riots, the protests, excuse me, would turn into riots with agitators, and then they could send in the military might.
Gotcha. Let me point out to the audience that the New York Times is reporting that Minnesota and Illinois have now separately sued the Trump regime over these ICE deployments, saying they're unconstitutional. Let me go to you, Michael Fanone, for some analysis as a law enforcement officer. Can you talk a little bit about the appropriate use of force in these situations? Because they're trying to claim on the other side that it was Renee Good who was menacing the officers with her car. But yet I was reading today that the federal, as well as most state law enforcement rules, are that you are supposed to attempt to step out of the way of a vehicle, and you're not supposed to shoot into a vehicle simply because someone is trying to flee. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think that everybody should take into account universally, regardless of whatever police department or federal agency you're a part of, if you your first rule is to de-escalate the situation when possible. There were plenty of opportunities in this situation for that agent to de-escalate the situation. But just from analyzing the videos that I've seen that have been readily available, to include what CBP and ICE put forward, which was the video that shows Renee Good and her demeanor in the moments prior to being murdered by this agent, in that she is non-confrontational. The justification that was given by Kristi Noem, in which she said that this Renee Good was impeding their investigation or impeding their activities. Well, there were multiple ICE agents that were allowed to proceed. In fact, she was waving them in front of her vehicle in the moments prior to this agent firing. And it was clear through his demeanor that this agent was agitated. His ego had been bruised by the fact that this woman was filming him, which is her constitutional right to do. And he decided, as well as at least one other agent, that they were going to try to rip her from inside of this vehicle. And she reacted, I think, the way that most Americans would, especially having seen the way that ICE and CBP conduct themselves under this administration. And she fled. And it was clear that she was fleeing. There's been plenty of analysis, and the tires were pointed away from this agent. And at no point in time when he chose to fire his weapon, whether it was the first shot, the second shot, or the third shot, was his life in danger, or were any of the other agents' lives in danger. I would also note that no other agent pulled their weapon, no other agent fired. And to say that he was injured, as the president of the United States did, as Kristi Noem did, he walked away from that incident unharmed. He was talking on his cell phone. He was filming the incident with his cell phone in one hand, which is something I've never experienced in my time as a law enforcement officer. That's not something that's taught. And I think any instructor would say, you're acting like an absolute child and a buffoon and a clown and putting yourself at a tactical disadvantage by doing that. And so, yeah, I mean, I can't see anything that this agent did that's in line with police policy or any training that I was ever exposed to as a law enforcement officer.
Let's just play this video real quick. I cut together 3 clips that I think reinforce everything, Mike, that you've just said. Let's play that real quick. Jason, this is A5.
I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. It's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Fucking bitch.
You! Shame! 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 Shame!
Mike Malone, the three things I want to ask you about to zero in on. Number one, what is the way that law enforcement is trained to react when you're being berated? Because you're in a situation where people are berating you, people are attacking you verbally because of what you're doing, right? That's the situation these ICE agents found themselves in. That's number one. Number two, am I wrong in saying that the reason that officers are told not to fire into someone's car is because what happened to her is what would happen to anyone? Your foot hits the gas. She could have hit a child in the street. There could have been another person in the street. She could have crashed into a house. And then the third piece of it, what do you make of him shooting her and then calling her the B word and then strolling off?
Yeah, well, first, if you'll just indulge me, Joy, I want to read for you the use of force policy for ICE and CBP, as well as all other federal agencies. It's 1-16.200. And I would ask that anyone who's watching this go to the DOJ website and pull up the use of force policy. It's the use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. And I'm going to read the first two bullet points because they're the most applicable. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. In this particular case, if you were going to call Renee Good a suspect, if you were going to say, and I don't believe that she was guilty of any particular offense at this point, if you were going to say that, you can't use deadly force solely to prevent her escape, which is one violation that this agent engaged in. The second is firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. An example of that, if Renee Good was armed with a handgun and was shooting at the agent would have been authorized to use deadly force against Renee Good, not against the vehicle, but against Renee Good until he neutralized that threat. Second, the vehicle is operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious bodily injury to the officer or others, and no other objectively reasonable means of defense appear to exist. Why is that important, Joy? Because even if you say she was going to use that vehicle to assault us, as Kristi Noem said moments after this event took place, what did that agent do? He sidestepped the vehicle before he even fired the first shot. That's what a reasonable officer would do. They wouldn't stand in front of a vehicle because there's no way that your bullets or your body are going to prevent that vehicle from running you over. And so clearly what this agent did was in violation of departmental policy, was in violation of his training, and was murder. And what adds to the malice of it is what you brought up at the end there. The language that he uses, calling her a fucking bitch, moments after he just ended her life forever. As a former police officer, somebody who served with distinction for 20 years in an inner city police department and came across this exact scenario countless times. How many times did I fire my weapon? 0 times. That's what makes me so angry. And then to add insult to injury, the difference between this moment and, at least what we experienced with George Floyd, accountability. Derek Chauvin went to prison. This guy is being lauded as a fucking hero. This administration has declared that Renee Good, because she doesn't fit their normal narrative of a person of color, a person with an accent, or someone that's an immigrant to this country, she's now a domestic terrorist. She's a mother who is in her own fucking neighborhood looking out for her fellow residents.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, and it should scare the living shit out of every single American in this country. It now defeats it lends credence to the narrative. First they came for the immigrants, now they're coming for you.
100%.
Amen. Amen. Christy Nome had some thoughts, Paul Butler, that I want to share with you, because in addition to what Michael Fanone has brilliantly laid out for us, Christy Nome seems to forget a very relatively recent codicil to this, right? There was another example of police who were facing actual literal deadly force. Michael knows of it very well, in which officers did not shoot at anyone except one person who was jumping through a glass door, on the other side of which were members of Congress and their 20-something-year-old staff. That is the one person who deployed their firearm on January 6th, 2021. And he was cleared because that was a clear case of using force. Donald Trump has said that Ashley Babbitt, she's already gotten a $5 million settlement. Nothing was done wrong. Let me let you listen, Paul Butler, to Christy Nome attempting to explain the difference between these two things.
I want to ask a question about the rules of how law enforcement is allowed to engage when feeling threatened, per your assertions. Because I want to show some video to you right now and ask, what is the appropriate response for the police officers in this situation? Those are law enforcement officers being physically attacked. By this standard, would any of those officers be justified in shooting and killing the people causing them physical harm?
Every single situation is going to rely on the situation those officers are on. But they know that when people are putting hands on them, when they are using weapons against them, when they are physically harming them, that they have the authority to arrest those individuals.
The president pardoned every single one of those people.
And make sure that they're getting justice for their actions going forward.
President Trump pardoned every single one of those people.
And every single one of these investigations comes in the full context of the situation on the ground. And that's one thing that President Trump has been so focused on, is making sure that when we're out there, we don't pick and choose which situations are and which laws are enforced and which ones aren't. Every single one of them is being enforced under the Trump administration, and the clarity of the law stands. And if people don't like it, these members of Congress and elected officials should go change the law and make sure they have that debate and policy change.
I just showed you video of people attacking law enforcement officers. Undisputed proof, undisputed evidence. And I just said President Trump pardoned all of them. And you said that President Trump is enforcing all the laws equally. It's just not true. There's a different standard for law enforcement officials being attacked if they're being attacked by Trump supporters. We just saw that.
This individual and these instances and these investigations all have to be taken and done correctly in context of every situation that is happening on the ground. So what we are doing today as the Department of Homeland Security is out there with our law enforcement officers, making sure that we're targeting the worst of the worst and that we're talking factually about each situation and making sure that we're bringing those perpetuators of violence back to justice, bringing them to justice and making sure they face consequences for their crimes. We'd love to have the partnership of Mayor Fry. We'd love to have the partnership of the Chief of Police and of Governor Walz every day when we're out there to make sure they tone down the rhetoric and they do the right thing for the people of Minnesota.
Paul Butler, can you decipher that word salad?
No, I can't. I really can't, because it doesn't make any sense. When she lauds the rioters and insurrectionists and violent criminals who assaulted police officers on January 6th, she defends them. And in other interviews, she's called Miss Good a domestic terrorist. I can't make that make sense, Joy. We know that what Officer Fanone and the other heroic police officers did on January 6th, officers in the Capitol Police and in the Metropolitan Police Department in D.C., their actions preserved life. They took a lot of abuse, a lot of verbal abuse, and a lot of physical abuse. Many of those officers still have not recovered from their physical wounds and their psychological wounds. And of course, the President of the United States pardons all of the people who committed those crimes, including officers, including people who assaulted police officers. And when you look at what happened with Ms. Good, the video is a textbook example of what police officers are trained not to do. Joy, we see the ICE agent position himself near the front of Ms. Good's car and then fires shots. ICE regulations say that officers should avoid deliberately placing themselves in positions where they're at risk and then using that as an excuse to shoot in self-defense. So on January 6th, we saw police officers, professional officers trained to preserve life, engage in de-escalation. Last week in Minneapolis, we saw an ICE agent escalate a situation that resulted in the death of someone who did not deserve or have to die.
Paul Butler, can he be prosecuted at the state level the way Derek Chauvin was?
He could be, but the feds are making that extremely difficult by shutting out the local investigators from all of the evidence. So when this incident happened, immediately after, it was announced that there was going to be a joint partnership between the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, and the Minnesota State Investigator. Now, mind you, this Minnesota State Investigative Agency has expertise, deep expertise. They're the people who helped bring the 4 officers who were implicated in George Floyd's murder to justice. The day after it was announced that that state agency and those trained investigators couldn't touch this case. They can't have access to any of the evidence. They can't have access to the witness interviews. They can't have access to the car that Ms. Good was driving, which is vital evidence. So it's legally possible for the state to prosecute Agent Ross for murder or manslaughter or negligent homicide. But as a practical matter, since the state is being shut out of all of the evidence, that prosecution would be quite difficult.
One more question to Michael Fanone and then one more to Lev. Michael, what position does this put local law enforcement in? Because a lot of regular folks just see cops as cops, right? They clearly cannot cooperate with ICE if ICE is behaving in this terroristic manner, right? And do you have any response to this idea of non-cooperation with the FBI?
Well, it's outrageous. I mean, that's standard practice in pretty much every jurisdiction when there's a use of force incident, a serious use of force incident involving a federal agent, is that, state, local, municipal law enforcement agencies who typically have much more experience in investigating serious use of force incidents, because there are a hell of a whole lot more police officers out there than there are federal agents, and they interact with the public on a daily basis, as opposed to federal agents who typically, now this, CBP and ICE, the way that they're being deployed by this administration is a complete anomaly, or departure from those norms, but they would have more experience. And it also goes to letting giving confidence to the public that there's going to be a fair investigation. I mean, typically in the past, we would want the feds to get involved because there was a lot of mistrust and distrust when it came to local and state law enforcement. Now we have a complete reversal of that. I am growing very impatient with state, local, and municipal law enforcement agencies, especially and district attorneys' offices. I think the standard has been set by Philadelphia. If you watched over the weekend, you had the sheriff. She came out in coordination with the district attorney, and they announced that any ICE agents that break the law in their jurisdiction will be arrested and prosecuted. That should be the standard going across. Speaking to what Mr. Butler said, I recognize the difficulties when you're shut out of an investigation. I still think that, especially in the Renee Good case, there's ample evidence, there's witnesses to be interviewed. That agent needs to be prosecuted. He needs to be held accountable for his actions, because the public is growing impatient. We saw no Kings 1, no Kings 2. If you speak to the individuals that are involved in those protests, they weren't just protesting the administration. They were specifically there because they were seeing the way that ICE and CBP were being deployed on American streets. That's where the anger and the outrage is. It's fine for these politicians like Minnesota's mayor to come out and say, or Minneapolis's mayor, ICE, get the fuck out. I appreciate the sentiment. Now I need to see actions. How are you going to deploy your law enforcement agencies to protect the American people? That's what needs to go. JB Pritzker, I get it. You know, you're standing up against the administration. Now it's time to put your money where your mouth is and actually do something to protect your citizens, to protect the migrant communities from these clear abuses, not just of the Constitution, but of people's physical safety. People are dying. It's time to do something, not just say shit.
Yeah, Lev.
I mean, I couldn't say, Michael, I agree with you 100%. It's time for action. And, you know, that's the one thing that everybody needs to understand. We got, you know, Trump on the defense is Trump making mistakes. And we seen that November 4th when the people came out and when the blue tsunami, as they called it, came out. And, you know, so we need to do the same thing. We need to, Michael said 100%, there needs to be accountability, there needs to be action. Right now, the cover-up is happening. What MAGA and what the Trump administration is great at is cover-ups. They're not great at fully covering it up, but they're great at trying to change the narrative. Just remember with the first perfect phone call with Vladimir Zelensky, we all saw the transcripts, but, you know, he got away. Then came Georgia. We heard the 11,000 votes. We heard it with our own ears, but still, now we're watching with our own eyes. Just like you guys said, 100%. This was an execution that's being covered up. And to make matters worse, they have a GoFundMe for this guy that's set up, and they're raising a ton of money for supposedly a defense fund. Think about this, Joy, a defense fund for a guy that supposedly has immunity from prosecution. So what's the defense for? It's all a grift. It's all a scam. And it's right now, they need to start doing certain investigation, arrest them, put their feet to the fire, let them come and let them try it. The more they do it, but don't just sit back and say we can't do nothing.
Before I let Paul go, I just have 3 more quick things to play. Let me play very quickly because Donald Trump, I do have to ask you one more question as my our legal eagle here. Here's Donald Trump explaining why he thinks this happened to Renee Good.
Seen it, and the woman was very violent. She's a very radical person. Very sad what happened. Her friend was very radical. Go and drive.
Officer, absolute immunity. How would you define that?
Well, I'm going to let the people define it. But immunity, you know what immunity means as well as I do.
So that officer should be back on the force?
People can't be treating law enforcement that way, whether it's ICE or Border Patrol or our police and men and women. You can't do that. We have to respect.
And then to the point that Michael Fanone made, let's play the Philly police chief and what she said.
Good afternoon. I'm Rochelle Bilal, the sheriff for the city and county of Philadelphia. And I say her name, Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. This should not have happened, but we're here today. Let know that law enforcement professionals, real ones, not the fake made up ICE, probably Trump's new army to attack citizens of the United States. Did you hear what I said? No law enforcement professional wears a mask. None. None. Those that come into our communities wearing a mask to commit crime, thank God for our district attorney, Larry Kraftner, who say he's going to lock them up. And I'm saying now, we are not going to whisk you away for them to hide your identity, because when you do it there, you're getting arrested there.
Okay,
no whisk away.
And last but not least, I want to play this pastor who was confronted by ICE agents and had a pretty harrowing experience.
An ICE agent literally came over to me and said, "What did you say?" I said, "I am not afraid," and they pointed a gun in my face. ICE put handcuffs on my hands and put me in a black SUV. And then a few moments later, they came back and they said, "Are you afraid yet?" And I said, "No." And then they said it, "Well, you're white. You wouldn't be fun anyway." It was then that I knew that this staging, that these ICE raids are really about fear and intimidation.
Paul Butler, I'm going to give you the last word, it turns out. on this question of whether or not what the state at this point is doing really does amount to domestic terrorism against these communities. As you heard this last pastor say, they made it racial. They want him to be afraid. And Donald Trump claims that immunity is going to be defined by the people, meaning his people. The police chief in Philadelphia begs to differ, but that is what the regime is saying.
So the immunity is defined by the Constitution of the United States. Police officers do not have absolute immunity. Federal officers do not have absolute immunity from state prosecution. If they are acting outside of their jobs, if what they're doing isn't necessary and proper is the legal phrase, then they can be prosecuted, and they should be prosecuted. What we heard from that sheriff in Philadelphia is effective policing. So she's not just concerned about unethical or immoral behavior by ICE agents. She's trying to create a sense where people in her community trust the police. They're confident in the police. They don't feel like the police are out to get them. And there was some progress on that issue after the murder of George Floyd. And a lot of people aren't going to make these distinctions between federal agents, the FBI, and local police departments. They'll go back to this concern that especially for people of color, for undocumented people, for immigrants, for transgender women of color, that all the police want to do is to lock us up. So again, it's not just immoral, it's ineffective law enforcement. It's bad policing that's being promoted by the Trump administration.
Indeed. Michael Fanone, Paul Butler, Lev Parnas. Thank you, friends. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you very
much. Appreciated. So there it is, everyone. 3 professionals, 3 people who know what they're talking about, actually talking about an issue that is really important because we're seeing this play out in the streets of the United States. What really does, in my mind, amount to domestic terrorism. I want to take a moment and pivot and let you guys know that the Joy Reid Show tonight is brought to you by our friends at Helix. And by the way, who doesn't need a good night's sleep, especially in these wild times? So here's the thought. Why not stay comfy in your repose on a mattress by Helix? Get a great night's sleep and avoid issues like night sweats, because you know I know about that, honey. Night sweats, back pain, arm numbness from sleeping on your side, and all of the bad things. Because Helix will get you comfy and right so that you can wake up to a great day. So start by taking the Helix Sleep Quiz, which matches you with the perfect mattress based on your personal preferences and your sleep needs. It makes buying a mattress super easy. Helix is the most awarded mattress brand, tested and reviewed by experts like Forbes and Wired. They're also offering free shipping right now and seamless delivery. Helix will deliver your mattress right to your door with free shipping in the US. Plus, there's the Happy with Helix guarantee. Rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. The Happy with Helix guarantee offers a risk-free, customer-first experience designed to ensure that you're completely satisfied with your new mattress. And you can add in their 120-night sleep trial and limited lifetime warranty. So Helix will help you sleep better. A study by the Sleep Genome Product found that 82% of people sleeping on a Helix involved increased sleep in their deep sleep cycle. So if you want to sleep better and get a brand new mattress, go to helixsleep.com/joy for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/joy for 20% off site-wide. Make sure that you enter our show name after checkout so that they'll know that we sent you. helixsleep.com/joy. All right, let's get into this thing that I know a lot of people are in the chat waiting on, because it seems to me that our friend, well, I don't know if I call him a friend, Stephen A. Smith is talking shit again.
I don't know if you would categorize this as a third rail or a pitfall, as you describe, but in your book, you talk about how when you were first starting with, quite frankly, you were concerned that the Black community might see you as a sellout, as an Uncle Tom. And as you know, some of those criticisms have come about lately. And I want to just play a quick clip to get your reaction.
Sure. To use your platform in order to not only come for me, but consistently kind of have a track record of coming for Black women, I was just very disappointed in him.
They're paying you not for your numbers, my friend. They're paying you because you are willing to say the nasty things about Black people that they want to say.
Your reaction?
They should be ashamed of themselves. Where's your evidence?
Well, Crockett, you have apologized.
Well, Let me tell you what I apologized for. Trump followed up what I said by calling her low IQ and stuff like that, which I found appalling. She's a highly educated woman. She's licensed to practice law in the state of Texas, Arkansas, and federally. She's a United States representative. She's an influential, intelligent, decent, good black woman who cares a lot about black people in this country. So I apologized for assisting in any way this notion that it's okay to say that about her, because I didn't want any parts of that. But I did feel that the situation was overblown. I was simply saying, is cursing the president out and calling him a piece of on national television or in front of a national audience going to help your constituency? I wanted to know the answer to that question.
You know, it's not just Joy Reid and...
Let me say something about Joy Reid. Let's get this out of the way. I don't know this woman. I've met her one time. I shook her hand once. I've never spoken to her in my life. And she's responding that way because when she got fired by MSNBC, her show got canceled. I spoke on it. And what I said was, she is a talent, highly intelligent woman. I respect her. The issue, however, is that if your numbers drop 47% and you are black in this culture that we're living in, did you really expect something else to happen? Of course they were going to do that to you. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, I get what you're saying and you might be right. But the manner in which you're going about it, that ain't going to serve you well long term.
But why is it that many black women have had this criticism on Stephen A. Smith?
Who are the many? Because I think they're a few.
Okay. That is the interview that Lindsay Davis on ABC, great journalist Lindsay Davis, is doing with Stephen A. Smith. And I want you all to notice, as we just played that clip, their promo, that he did not answer Lindsay Davis's question. He just did his usual, I have so much respect for these sisters shtick before, attacking Jessamine Crockett and me with his same old bullshit. Now, I will note that he seems to have changed his position on moi, however, saying that since the entirety of the artist formerly known as MSNBC's ratings numbers went down after the election, and mine did too, that I got fired because I'm black. Did you notice that he said that? Particularly since ratings were actually up on my show and across the network at the time that I got fired. So he's saying that with everyone's ratings went down and mine did too, I should have known that they were going to fire me because I'm black. That's weird, Stephen. Because I thought your whole shtick was to say, you've got to prove that it's about race and it's not about race. But now you're saying it is about race? And since the ratings at Ms. Now, they were down throughout the entire year in 2025 versus Fox. They were down. Fox's ratings were up and the ratings at CNN and Ms. Now were down throughout 2025. And I haven't worked there since February 24th. So does this mean that people who are black who work at Ms. Now should expect to be fired per your formula? Because that's not the thing that you normally promote, right? And to go ahead and answer Lindsay's question, since you didn't, Stephen, here is a compilation of why so many black people, and they're really not the few, think that you're a sellout.
Get real serious about Kamala Harris. I'm incredibly disappointed with what I've seen from the standpoint of her promoting this book. She came across as somewhat leaderless at that particular moment in time, which is something that Trump was pointing out. Then you come out with a book. Nobody wants to hear this now. This is the problem. And this is why I believe her political career is over. Serena Williams was wrong. Somebody has to say it, so I will. When Serena Williams brought the issue of gender and sexism into the argument, that's when she... Mrs. Michelle Obama, I would like to see you have some people on your podcast with dissenting opinions, dare I say. That would be nice. So they could have an opportunity to clap back if you say something. You said a vote for Trump was a vote against you and a vote against y'all as women. I want to state for the record, I took major offense to that. Black men don't just love Our black women, we revere y'all. She is entitled to her opinion. She's earned it. I have never, nor would I ever, disrespect Jemele Hill. But that doesn't mean that you get to create your own facts. You can call it bullshit all you want to. Respectfully, the one that's spewing bullshit is you. I'm really, really trying to be as respectful as I possibly can be towards LeBron James. I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad.
I don't know why the hell Nike made these damn uniforms that have hoods attached to it, by the way. You got a lot of those white folks in the audience that's going to think this is Trayvon Martin being revisited. And I'm not joking about it. The bench is no place for somebody to be wearing hoodies.
Colin Kaepernick wants the media. This Colin Kaepernick, media can't find him. He ain't done no interviews. He ain't talked to nobody. Media can't find him. But he wants to do it. He wants the media available now. He don't want to play. He wants to be a martyr. But guess what? It ain't working this time. You don't want to work. You just want to make noise. And you want to control the narrative. It's over.
Let me tell you what gets me annoyed. And I hope Jasmine Crockett is listening to this. By the way, she's welcome on the show. When you go on national television and you calling the president of the United States out of his name, and you're being all disrespectful, as a representative in this country, do you believe the citizens of Texas sent you there to do that? They don't like him either. I'm talking about those who voted for her in all likelihood. But because he is who he is and he is in that position, they expect you to go to Capitol Hill and figure out a way to maneuver yourself through that terrain to work in a fashion that's going to facilitate getting things done on behalf of your constituents. That's your job. That's your job. Excuse my language on Sirius XM, but it ain't your job to say he ain't shit. He ain't worth a damn. That's not your job. Anybody can do that. I've listened to Jasmine Crockett. Both AOC and Jasmine Crockett are welcomed on this show. I respect the hell out of both of them. I'm not here to disrespect anybody. I'm only talking about what strategy is going to work. What Bakari Sellers needs to recognize is, why don't you tell what the truth is? Why don't you speak about the level of resentment that you really, really have? That the American people are more willing to listen to somebody like me or the others that you mentioned rather than you, who's been doing this for years out of South Carolina and then some. Nobody care what you have to say. I'm giving you pub right now by talking about you. Because this is the kind of individual he is. I could come at somebody like that who chooses to be disrespectful. You know my number. You could have reached me a long time ago. We could have had discussions a long time ago. The only time you ever reached out to anybody is when you wanted to sell your book. So it doesn't matter to me what you've accomplished. It doesn't matter to me how intelligent you are. It doesn't matter to me how knowledgeable you are, because nobody wants to listen to you, because your intent and your disposition and your default position is to attack personally people you don't even know. A charlatan? That implies I'm a fraud. How am I fraudulent? My work speaks for itself. I've been doing this for years. And SiriusXM wanting to come to me, I got news for you. CNN will want me before they want you, and you work there. Not to mention other networks. Don't hate on us because of what you ain't. Step up and be more than that by focusing on the issues. And if we don't know, teach us. That's all you got to do. Teach us. If you're right, we'll listen to you. And instead of me calling you out on the airwaves, what I do instead is sit on the air and say, hey, this makes perfect sense, man. Bakari Sellers is right. Just like I've said Van Jones is right. Just like I've said others are right, on the left and the right. You bought and paid for on one side. Don't even want to hear what the other has to say, but you talking about me. Sit your ass down.
And look, like they would say he's Virgin Islander. So they would say in the Virgin Islander, he has no behavior, right? You know, he's a Virgin Islander. But, bruh, just to be clear, that you are not an equal opportunity offender, because that was a long cut of offensive shit. But just to show y'all that this brother not an equal opportunity offender. Here is Stephen A. Smith when it comes to two white Americans whom he seems to particularly love.
BCUs be very concerned about you making cuts in that regard?
Not at all. And let me just tell you, I'm glad you brought it. Historically black colleges and universities, I saved them, Stephen. They were going out of business. They came to me, about 50 people that headed up, and they came to me the first year, and I took care of them. I took care of the black colleges and historically black HBCU. I took care of them. You know that better than anybody. Then they came to me the second year, and I said, wait a minute. Why do you keep coming back? I saw you guys, and they were great guys. Some of them, to this day, are still really friendly. And by the way, they love Trump, every one of them. They came to me the second time.
Well, you're giving them money.
They came to me the second time.
Get my damn teacup going.
Oh, my God.
Of any. At the time of this taping, 53 Trump nominees have been reported. One is black. That's it. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Trump proclaims to be cool with the brothers and fellas and what have you. And, but when it's time to appoint people to positions of power, folks are choosing folks they're accustomed to, who look like them, share their cultural identity, things of that nature. You're expecting me to be overly critical of Trump about this. I'm not. The fact of the matter is that folks lost the right to complain. Folks lost the right to complain, even the black conservatives. He is a conservative talk show host. He's got a great podcast with millions upon millions of followers. He is an author extraordinaire. He's one of the brilliant minds in America, if not beyond, even though we tend to disagree from time to time. I'm talking about the one and only himself, Mr. Ben Shapiro. Pleasure to see you again, man. How you doing?
It's an honor for you to have me. I really appreciate it.
But I got to tell you something. As much as people may have been abhorred by Donald Trump's statement weeks ago, talking about how black folks, he's hearing that black folks find him relatable because what he's going through is similar to what black Americans have gone through. He wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. No, I don't. I knew Trump before he ran for the presidency. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to him. I genuinely liked him. I didn't know who this guy was running for president. I think he's changed, but I will tell you this. I think when people call him racist and stuff like that, I've never thought of Trump that way. He's not against black people. He's against all things not named Trump. There's a difference. And we're going to give lip service to the tragedy of the moment, and then within 24 hours, we move on with our lives like nothing happened. Something did happen. Don't care what his political beliefs were. I don't care what he felt. And then I'm going online and I'm seeing people celebrating it. Shame. Shame on you. What I'm not suspect on is him getting them. Hell with that. That's the right thing to do because across party lines, everybody in our government said this man was a narco-terrorist and we want to get him. What's the problem? You got him. Why are we complaining? People in Venezuela ain't complaining. Venezuelans throughout this nation ain't complaining. A lot of people in Latin America ain't complaining about the fact that you got him. You got people. I know somebody from Venezuela, and now they fantasizing about going back because he's finally been captured. And they want democratic leadership within their country. Because they went from being one of the most prosperous countries in the nation a few decades ago to people eating out of trash cans. And we complaining. Are we complaining because it's legit or are we complaining because it was Trump? And this is something that could be perceived as beneficial to him and the GOP for the midterm and ultimately whoever's running in 2028 that wants to mirror the policies that he's implemented. Come on now. We got to be smarter than that. Better than that.
Okay. Now, Stephen, Stephen, note vive la différence. You don't have the same smoke for the right that you do for anybody black. You got a lot of smoke for LeBron and Jamel Hill and Carrie Champion and Jasmine Crockett. You got a lot of smoke for black folks. But when it comes to Charlie Kirk, who applauded the killing of Trayvon Martin and said we can handle some more gun murders if we can have more Second Amendment, Donald Trump, who is terrorizing black and brown communities, you have no smoke for them. If you've been criticizing the right the way you've been attacking people on the other side, I need to see those clips, because when I tell you I've spent all day, Jason can tell you, just editing clips of you. And Stephen, I just didn't find the same smoke for the pro-fascist side, the pro-racist side, the anti-diversity side, as I found attacks by you, Stephen, against anybody black who has a prominent platform. And by the way, as to your attack on Bakari Sellers, Stephen, did you even know who his family is? Did your fam not learn about his history over there in the U.S. Virgin Islands? Now, to be fair, American history isn't exactly taught thoroughly everywhere. So just to educate you for just a moment, since you had so much smoke for Bakari, and since you like it when people bring you the facts, Bakari's father, Cleveland Sellers of Denmark, South Carolina, became a civil rights activist at age 15. Then at Howard University, he became a SNCC organizer after meeting and befriending a Caribbean-American activist named Stokely Carmichael. Now, in his life as an activist, Cleveland Sellers dealt directly with men like Bayard Rustin and Malcolm X, and SNCC sent Cleveland Sellers to do voter registration in Holly Springs, Mississippi, and to advocate for the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Now, returning to South Carolina after leaving SNCC at 23 years old, he refused to be drafted into the Vietnam War, which many young civil rights activists suspected was a guise by the Johnson administration to pull them out of the streets, off the streets doing activism, and send them overseas to risk their lives killing non-white people. And instead, he poured himself into organizing in his native South Carolina. And 2 years before the 1970 Kent State Massacre, Cleveland Sellers became the only person indicted and jailed following the Orangeburg Massacre, which took place on the campus of South Carolina State University on February 8, 1968, whereby state police shot 28 students, most of them in the back, killing 3 young men. We're going to put their pictures up. It's B6. The 3 young men who were killed in the Orangeburg Massacre were named Samuel Hammond, all-star basketball player Delano Middleton, and Henry Smith. Those same officers wounded 27 other people, including Cleveland Sellers, who was shot in the left shoulder. The peaceful protest that police shot up was over the de facto segregation of a local bowling alley. Now, Cleveland Sellers, literally while laying injured and in the hospital, was deemed by police to have been an outside agitator, despite not even being an organizer of that specific protest. Yet he was arrested, charged, and given a year of hard labor for supposedly inciting a riot, when the violent rioters were in fact the police. He was targeted by police because he was friends with Stokely Carmichael and worked with him. And Stokely Carmichael had terrified white Americans with his calls for Black power. And because Cleveland Sellers, unlike Charlie Kirk, whom you so admired, was organizing students on college campuses like South Carolina State towards social and civic consciousness, not to believe that, Black men were inherently unqualified to be airline pilots. Bill Clinton, by the way, pardoned Cleveland Sellers in 1993. And unlike Donald Trump, Stephen, who you also seem to deeply admire and who you said you like very much, Cleveland Sellers, like Jasmine Crockett and Jamel Hill and Carrie Champion and Michelle Obama and Kamala Harris and LeBron James and Bakari Sellers and all the other Black men and women who you seem to so thoroughly and uniquely put down and criticize and attack, actually care about what happens to Black people, because they know that what happens to Black people in this country almost always eventually happens to everyone. The violence visited upon us is what you might call metastatic. It metastasizes eventually to every other community, as we've already seen happening to the OGs of getting massacred by colonizers, our indigenous brothers and sisters who are literally today being harassed by ICE, ironically, in the country stolen from them. And also Asian immigrants in Chinatown, Korean workers in Georgia, Latinos who are getting profiled all over this country at work, at Home Depot, ripped out of their homes, harassed, deported, tossed into concentration camps and private prisons at home and abroad. And now, as was always inevitable, white Americans, white women, who just as in the civil rights era, face state violence and even death for being race traitors and empathizers, since the right has deemed empathy to be evil. See Goodman and Schwerner, who were treated almost as viciously as Cheney, not quite, but almost as viciously as Cheney, and killed along with him in that 1965 lynching in Mississippi. The people you constantly criticize, they see that and they know that, Stephen. And we try to use our platforms to fight that hideous form of apartheid fascism. That's what we use our platforms for. That's why it is so problematic, Stephen, when you use your platform to say shit like this.
Video on numerous occasions. And seeing what transpired from a lawful perspective, as it pertains to a law enforcement official, don't expect him to be prosecuted. He was completely justified. From a humanitarian perspective, however, why did you have to do that? If you could move out the way, that means you could have shot the tires. That means you could have got her a few feet away after you shot the tires. And if you were unsuccessful in doing that, you could have got her down the road. You didn't have to do that. She wasn't driving down the road coming at you 90 miles an hour. She was parked in the middle of the street. And rather than get out the car, she wrongfully tried to drive off and wrongfully disregarded law enforcement official, which is exactly what ICE is. And as a result, lost her life because of it.
Oh, Stephen, from a lawful perspective, Stephen, given that you're not a journalist anymore, I mean, you did write for your school sports paper, and you did come from the Philadelphia Inquirer, so you used to be a journalist. But if you were an actual journalist on your podcast, if you wanted to speak from a lawful perspective, you would do what I did on the show tonight. You would bring on people who can speak from a lawful perspective, meaning a lawyer like Paul Butler, who can speak from a legal perspective, or people like Michael Fanone, who's literally law enforcement and who can speak from a lawful perspective. You would bring on people who have actual journalism in play at this moment, like Lev Parnas, who can speak to what's actually happening rather than just running your freaking mouth with your opinion. From a lawful perspective, you could have shot out the tires. Really? Because I'm not sure that it will be a lawful perspective to shoot out her tires either. There is a fleeing felon rule. You can't do it. You just heard it. Well, you wouldn't have heard it tonight, but maybe someone will send you the clips so you can hear from a lawful perspective actually what the facts are in the state of Minnesota rather than just running your mouth. From a lawful perspective, I think you might need to stick to sports. Because see, what I'm saying, Stephen, what I'm saying personally, is that you wouldn't even have an education if it weren't for men like Cleveland Sellers, nor would you have the freedom to be loud and wrong while claiming Jasmine Crockett is loud and wrong when she's just crying out for justice while you were crying out for people to respect Donald Trump. You wouldn't even have that opportunity if not for people like Cleveland Sellers, whom you disrespect when you disrespect his son in that manner, and whose story you probably don't even know. Without the people who are willing to agitate, there would be no President Obama, no First Lady Michelle Obama for you to shit on, no me, no Don Lemon, no Lindsey Davis for you to fail to answer her question. But most of us, including the many Black men and women who you've disrespected over the years, we know that. It's just a pity that you have that big old platform, which I sure hope your loud, dumbass takes don't jeopardize for your day job, bruh, since I am today old. Just doing my research on you since I don't watch your show and not previously realizing that your podcast is not even connected to ESPN. So don't shit on your day, your main bag by saying dumb shit on your podcast. That's just my free advice to you. Because you either don't know shit or you just don't care. Instead, you use your platform to cozy up to the Bill O'Reillys and the Chris Cuomos of the world and the Newsmaxes, sucking up to them for favor from the regime, while people who you actually could have used your platform to stand up for, people like the people Colin Kaepernick stood up for and threw away his literal career to stand up for, while those people are destroyed. And I promise you, Stephen, I promise you, when the unspicy whites are done with you, and eventually they will be done with you, you may not have a home in Black America to come home to. Look, I don't know you, Stephen. That is true. As you said, we only met that one time, ironically, at the National Association of Black Journalists convention. But I disrespect you. I disrespect you, Stephen, if I'm being honest, because I suspect that had you not been a 1-year-old in February 1968, and instead had been a sports broadcaster at the time, you probably would have attacked Delano Middleton for not sticking to sports. You probably would have attacked Cleveland Sellers for not respecting the South Carolina administration and figuring out how to work with them. Just my thoughts. So CBS is having a time. Jason, did you have any thoughts before we move on to CBS?
I think you said everything. I don't have anything to say. You cleared everything up very astutely, so I'm going to let it slide. You took care of it.
Use your platform for things that actually can help people. That's all I'm saying.
Because I would have told him go, but I'm going to let it alone. Go F. Anyway, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, well, so CBS is having a rough time, y'all. He's having a rough time. Their new anchor, Tony Dokoupil, fresh from calling Ta-Nehisi Coates a terrorist and being elevated to a greater position by Bari Weiss for his trouble. He fought with the prompter on his debut night and then blamed the control room for it, which you never do. Not nice. He's generally a nice guy. Back when he used to work at Ms. Now, the artist formerly known as MSNBC, he was a perfectly nice guy, very nice guy. But you don't usually blame the folks in the control room. But anywho, he then both sides the January 6th insurrection on the 5-year anniversary. And whilst dispatched to Minnesota, he offered North Korea-worthy praise of Kristi Noem and his fellow Miamian Marco Rubio.
In America, the many lives and many jobs of Marco Rubio, the son of Cuban immigrants and a former Florida senator. He's now the face of U.S. foreign policy and President Trump's point man on Venezuela, all in addition to his roles as Secretary of State, interim National Security Advisor, and acting National Archivist and USAID chief. Whatever you think of his politics, you got to admit it's an impressive resume. And now AI memes have added to that portfolio, casting Secretary Rubio as the new governor of Minnesota, the new Shah of Iran, the Prime Minister of Greenland, the new manager of Manchester United, the head of Hilton Hotels, and highest of high honors of all, the new Michelin Man. Now, back in real life, of course, these memes may not add up to much, but for Rubio's hometown fans, which are many around here in Miami, it is a sign of how Florida, once an American punchline, has become a leader on the world stage. Marco Rubio, we salute you. You're the ultimate Florida man.
Oh, we salute you, do we? Walter Cronkite is spinning in his grave. That is not the purpose of CBS Evening News. It just isn't, Tony. It isn't. I mean, why are you saluting him? I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. Dan Rather is probably having dry heaves right now watching that. That was weird. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not sure that's what the press is supposed to do. Look, I will salute a politician that I support, but I'm an opinion journalist. I'm not the anchor of NBC Nightly News. And even when I was at Ms. Now, the artist formerly known as MSNBC, I was an opinion journalist. I'm allowed to give my opinion. I can salute anybody I want. But you're like the freaking Walter Cronkite job. Like, you're not supposed to salute him or do like funny memes about, look, he's now the Michelin Man. Did y'all know that Marco Rubio's brother-in-law was a major drug dealer, big-time cocaine trafficker, that he helped get a real estate license so that he could buy Marco Rubio's childhood home? Did you guys know that? See, that's the kind of thing CBS News should probably bring out, that it's kind of ironic that Marco Rubio is trying to take over Venezuela and be the viceroy of Venezuela when his actual own brother-in-law is like a major drug dealer who went to prison for drug dealing. But I digress. What Dokoupil is really getting hammered for nowadays is this take that he had on the shooting death of Renee Good and the community outrage that has followed it.
So much to say about the last 24 hours, but sometimes what matters most is what is yet to be said at all and what we all still need to hear. By now, we've all seen the videos. Renee Good is alive in those videos, behind the wheel of her SUV, her 3 children expecting mom home again soon. And we've seen the freeze frames, too. We've heard the political warfare, the clashing declarations about what happened. And unfortunately, we know the ending for Renee Good. Nothing is going to change that. Yet what we have not yet heard is one another. I spoke to people today who haven't slept since it happened, who want ICE out now, who don't like masked men on their streets, don't want their neighbors arrested, don't want families ripped apart. I've heard, too, not on the streets protesting, but in passionate notes in my inbox from people who want to see our immigration laws enforced legally and peacefully and with safety for all, including the officers who in many cases are also parents themselves. These are both deeply American sentiments. But our job now is maybe the most American thing of all. It's to find a way to live with people who are genuinely different from us, to try to be fair to them, and in doing so, to make things better and keep things decent. Because in America, no one else is going to do it for us. It's not my job to tell you what to think about what happened here yesterday, but I can tell you we owe our children a nation that is better than the one we live in today. And I can say that because we all know it's true.
I don't know where to go with this, but both sidesing. One side believes that ICE shouldn't shoot women in the face. The other side believes they should. I'm sorry, how are we going to live together? We just need to come together and figure out how to get around the same dinner table with the people who believe that ICE should shoot people in the face. You know what? Maybe Barry Weiss should try for this guy for news anchor instead. Let's play him. His name is Corbin Trent. I like him.
So what's funny to me is when is violence, when is protest, when is this all acceptable?
But isn't that the same though? Where's the protest against the regime that's killing people in the street right now? I mean, I don't see anybody at Columbia.
Well, they're doing those today, and it's called the ICE protests.
Well, but they're talking about Iran at the ICE protest?
No, I think they're talking about the regime that's shooting people in the face. I mean, I think it's a very American idea to not want police forces to be able to shoot Americans indiscriminately. And the idea that J.D. Vance says is that they should have absolute immunity. You know, I thought this guy was a hillbilly. He had a book, a Hillbilly Elegy. And I can tell you, hillbilly values, at least from where I'm from in Appalachia, are that the government ought not be able to have absolute immunity when they shoot you in the face. But maybe we came from a different Appalachia.
Okay, Corbin.
Corbin Trent, I salute you. Our next guest is not just a media analyst. She's also a brilliant TV producer, anchor, and media historian. She's my Machete sister friend and my former colleague at The Artist, formerly known as MSNBC. She's Ms. Now, so we like to respect her new name. She's also a 2-time author whose new book, Love Me, A Letter to Black Women in a Toxic Country, Career, and Relationship, drops May 5th. But you can pre-order that book right now, including in the Joy Reid shop. Tiffany Cross!
Yes! My Machete sister. I'm so happy to be here. I just have to say, before you even say anything, because I've been in the green room listening to you, we got to talk about Stephen A.
Girl.
Because you know, you are my sister. I love you. I would not have had my show were it not for you. And so when someone talks about you, we have to treat it like he did not insult Joy. He insulted us. That is how machetes move, but that is how Black women have to move. We have to be so impenetrable that people know better before they come for you. So I don't want to give Stephen A. too much time on this broadcast because you don't really entertain your lessers. I hope he's somewhere listening and learning. But not really, he doesn't have the range to participate on this conversation. I'm not really mad at him. I'll tell you, I am mad at every single outlet that puts a microphone in front of his face and asks his simple ass an opinion on anything, because he does not have the humility to say, you know, I actually have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, so I'm going to pass. And they only do that in the Black community. They will elevate a useful fool every single time. But a real black man who actually has some intellect and knowledge, they will silence every single time. They think appealing to the black community is going to the lowest common denominator. So by all means, let's ask the sports commentator what he would do if he were president. But I don't ever see them going to Joe Rogan saying, what are your thoughts on the Middle East, Joe? What would you do? They elevate the most ignorant among us, and I wish they would stop doing that. So you can't be mad when you give a clown a microphone, they're gonna perform. But it is the outlets, and it's very intentional, Joy, and that's why your show, your platform is so incredibly important. And I love how people didn't miss a beat. They were just like, Miss Who? The artist formerly known as Who? We rocking with Joy, because they know that black faces are not always black voices, and they know that we are not interchangeable. So I'm just thrilled. This is my debut on the Joy Reid Show, and I'm just so thrilled to be here. But I just had to handle your lightweight for you, because I'm so tired of him taking up space. I'm tired every time I see his name in our group chat. I'm tired every time I see his simple face on television screens, because I know what they're doing. Every time I see him and people of his ilk, I know exactly what they're doing. It's so transparent, and shame on white gatekeepers who platform that level of ignorance while silencing important voices like yours, like mine, and all of our Machete sisters. Shout out to the Machete. So I'm just, you handled it with dignity and class. But I'm happy to get classless with this clown, because I just wish he would sit somewhere and shut the, you know what, up, please.
I mean, I do too, but the reality is, and this is why your book is so important, because this is what happens in these spaces. Picture you or me, and I grew up a sports nut. I would never get a sports show. ESPN would not hire me they wouldn't hire you to do it. But
well, I can do it, Joy, because I'm a sports expert. But yes, I take your point.
You are. But the reality is, we would be laughed out of the table, out of the room, if we went to ESPN and said, give us a sports show, me and Tiffany. Right. But what happens with him is he turns around and goes to the podcast world, and they say, yeah, let's let him speak on sports. His commentary about Minnesota from a lawful perspective, and then proceeded to spew a bunch of bullshit. He doesn't know anything about the law, nothing about policing. And to your point, he doesn't have the humility to say, okay, I have the platform. Let me invite on experts who could actually educate me and my audience. He just gives his fucking opinion, excuse my language. He just gives his opinion, but it's valuable to white conservatives to have their anti-black, anti-woman, misogynistic bullshit come out of a black man's mouth. And that's why he's getting 200 million. What is he, like 100 million or $200 million?
One or the other. He's a useful idiot to them. And how, I would be embarrassed to be that. If a bunch of MAGA people, no matter what I said, if a bunch of MAGA people started saying, you know what, that Tiffany Cross is onto something, I got to question my entire humanity. I got to question what I'm saying, what I'm doing. And so many people do this. And it's so clear it's a grift. He's doing this in service to them. And, I go on every platform. I'm never filtering my words, hoping, I hope I get a contract. Or I better not say this, because the white gatekeepers over here might not hire me if I say that. I have such respect for my community. My entire life, I wanted to live in service to the liberation of Black folks. So every time I have a microphone, every time I have a platform, I will lay my body on the line in service to my community. I can't sacrifice that for the love of corporate overseers who have no intention in our liberation. And so what we know, Joy, is you could be the favorite on Monday and be gone by Friday. But what we know is we can always come home. And there's nothing the white man can dangle in front of my face that I would sacrifice the love I have from my community and from my people. So shame on Stephen A. and anybody else who gets in front of a microphone and starts spewing things that they have no idea what they're talking about. Just take a look around. You don't see them asking Amy Schumer questions about things. You don't see them asking Howard Stern's opinion on things. You don't see them asking Tom Brady his thoughts on where should the Ukrainian borders be defined. We should ask Stephen A. that. Where should the Ukrainian borders be drawn, Stephen A?
Let him find Ukraine on the map to start with. That'll be the challenge.
Right. How much should we be giving to NATO? Actually, what does NATO stand for, Stephen A? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Read a book and shut the hell up. So, but for sure, please keep Joy's name out your mouth, and please keep Bakari's name. We roll deep over here, Stephen A. Yeah. I don't know what kind of black folks you roll with, but we roll deep. So just watch your mouth, bruh. Please
leave all of our people alone. I want to ask you. I'm gonna use your your brain as a media analyst first, because you've been in this business. You look 22, but you've been in the business.
Well, I'm 25, so that's close. We in the ballpark.
Your whole life, you've been in the media business. I have got to get your take on what's happened to CBS, because it was the network we grew up. We were a Dan Rather house.
Yes.
So I'm like, the network we love to watch. It's shocking to me what's happened to it. What do you think of it?
I'm so brokenhearted, Joy, because I began my career. I write about this a little bit, but I began my career when I was 15. And like you said, we grew up. 60 Minutes was the gold standard. CBS was the gold standard. But not only was CBS the gold standard, even their scripted programming, the news division was so powerful. Even their scripted programming had to reflect the news division. And as I've said many times, I grew up wanting to be the Brown Murphy Brown. And I'm getting so old when I say that. Some people are like, I don't get it. Who's Murphy Brown? So I'm so always happy to be in front of audiences who know what I mean. But I mean, that is how I defined my career. I wanted to be, they were just the highest bar. And so I think it crystallizes what so many Black women are going through in America, because Bari Weiss has never navigated a newsroom. She's never built a newsroom. Let me ask Bari, what is a nut graph, Bari Weiss? Like, talk us through that. There are just basic things about journalism that she has no idea. And they have turned over the gold standard of journalism to this mediocre, below average ass white woman who is yet again another person capitulating to the Trump administration, because as is the case in so many newsrooms, what is considered impartial, what is considered unbiased is rooted in what is white and male. And when you look across all news, not just CBS, but when you look across all newsrooms, less than 6% are Black staff. And it's probably lower than that now, post the Trump administration. And when you disaggregate that number, that means even less Black men, even less Black women. And so we see where the axes come swinging, even more Black staff has gone, and you don't have those people in a pipeline who could help promote you. If you didn't have your show, you wouldn't have been able to advocate for me to get my show. So we're seeing the devastation of a media landscape, not just in policy, but we're looking at post-Reconstruction, even in the media landscape, where Black press has once again become so crucially important. I want to shout out our brother Michael Harriet with Contraband Camp. He is building the Black Atlantic over there. So if you don't subscribe there, and shout out to everybody who's already a subscriber to the Joy Reid Show. But to see, first of all, Tony Dookie Pill, I want to talk about him because I think the fact that they are blatantly doing this cheerleading squad shout routine for the Trump administration, this follows the path of every dictatorship we've seen. And I don't know a country, Joy, you're a lot smarter than I am on these things, so correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know a post-industrialized country that has come this far towards authoritarianism and turns back. And so all the signs are there. And one of the ways they do that is to penetrate the media. If we don't like the media, then we'll just buy the media, we'll replace the media. And so to see CBS potentially, where at this point they have become state-run media almost. It's embarrassing. They've got great talent over there. I know Anderson Cooper has to be disgusted by this. Scott Pelley was one of the best. Ed Bradley, God rest his soul. I just can't imagine what they're going through over there. So it's really sad to see, but really shame on Bari Weiss, but shame on the people who empowered her. Because I don't know when people are going to learn this MAGA machine cannibalizes. The second you do something that he doesn't like, the second you do something that doesn't praise your dear leader, he will snatch your license, he will threaten you. And so as we see, it's like a domino effect. We see one after one, all these media outlets fall, and it's devastating to folks like us who've dedicated our lives to bearing witness and practicing true journalism. Even though we give our opinion, we practice true journalism and have come up through the ranks for more than 25 years I've been in this business. So it's heartbreaking. I don't know how to navigate this society, this landscape professionally at this point. It's heartbreaking to witness personally and professionally.
And I think about, as you said, we need the building blocks in order to get our stories told. Because, when you and I were growing up, watching the news, it was just a lot of white men and Connie Chung, right? And
yes.
So we were like,
and eventually Ann Curry.
And Curry and
Oprah.
And Oprah, right? We were pointing to those examples because it was the one sort of chance you get our stories told. It's interesting you mentioned Bari Weiss. She's a gay woman and a mom. You would think that there'd be some empathy toward Renee Good, who is also a white woman and a mom. None. It's literally a both sides situation. But I want to talk to you about a story that this is one of the main reasons I miss your show so much, The Cross Connection on Ms. Now, on the artist known as MSNBC. If you were still on this weekend, this video would have been played. Jason, this is C5.
Porter, he did not deserve this. Keith Porter was a wonderful soul. His heart was big. He had a big heart. He loved so hard. He loved so deep. Anyone who came in contact with Keith loved him. He was a joy. He was a jokester. He was my baby. He was a father, a cousin, an uncle. And he always said, family over everything. It meant the most to him. My baby called me every morning to say, good morning, Mom, I love you. Every day before he went to work, just to say, Mom, I love you. How's your day? He loved his daughter. He loved me so much. I miss my child. He does not deserve this. His Home Depot family, I'm so grateful to them. He loved unconditionally. He never argued. He wasn't a gossip. He was the one that brought people together with love and unity. He was the type of person, if there was no anger, he always brought joy into the room. He commanded the room and he made you feel special. Everybody had a name, and it was from love, joy.
Let's leave it
He
there.
left
Keith Porter's death happened about a week before Renee Good was killed. It was a story that really, my daughter told me about it the day that we were starting to put together the information for Renee Good, because it wasn't really on the news. It really wasn't covered the same way. Why do you think that is? The facts are very different. It was a off-duty ICE agent. It was a very different situation. It wasn't a confrontation over immigration. But what do you think of the coverage of the story, first of all, beyond the local level? And what are the chances that stories like this will break through in this moment? In this environment?
Yeah, a few things. One, I think Keith Porter's story was actually even more devastating. The fact that the ICE officer was off duty. And as Black people in this country, we know all too well that vigilante justice system where you deputize yourself law enforcement or enforcers, overseers over our very body. So to even be approaching him when it wasn't necessary was completely out of pocket. And God, my thoughts to his mother. I don't think they see our humanity. So it's hard for them to imagine that this woman is mourning the loss of a child. And of course, there is the racial component, Joy. You mentioned that Barry Weiss is, also a gay white woman with a daughter. And yeah, the country, America, is trained to respond to the trauma of white women and mourn the deaths of white women. And so I'm not surprised that Renee Good's story elevated to the top. And again, there was video and, in news, if it bleeds, it leads, unfortunately. And so there was the video there. However, the commonality, I think, with Barry Weiss and Renee, even the intersectionality of marginalized groups when it comes to that, and particularly this administration, so often the marginalized group will choose race over whatever other thing. And so Barry Weiss, I would say, is a white woman before she is anything else. With the Keith Porter story, I think, again, this shows how the newsroom staff is so important because, you and I were kind of different, Joy. Like, we did our own research, we wrote our scripts, we had amazing teams around us, but we were just those hands-on people. But it takes producers to find stories like this, to sift through social media, to share responsibly, to vet information, to make sure things are accurate. And that's how it bubbles up to the top. And so when you and I had our platforms, we were able to elevate these stories, faster than the rest of the rest of the legacy media world would. And I think we will, unfortunately, with Keith Porter's story, I think we will continue to see these types of stories fade to darkness. I do want to take a moment and just let your viewers know, since Donald Trump's administration, there have been 16 shooting incidents involving ICE. Another 14 included ICE discharging non-lethal weapons like pepper spray and I think pepper balls is what you call them. 4 deaths have happened, including Keith Porter and including Renee Good. So we are still in year 1 for a few more days. And I don't think it's hyperbolic for me to say we need to start taking this very seriously. I don't know if this generation is ready for what's happening right now. I don't know if we're ready to meet the moment. People are so busy consuming phone slop, texting, not paying attention, looking down at their phones, not paying attention, not connecting and listening to each other. But we live in a country right now that has normalized mass men disappearing people. We live in a country that has said, yes, ICE officers, I'm giving you permission to shoot with impunity. That's essentially what Donald Trump has said. We saw current Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth be asked this by Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono during his confirmation hearing. She said, listen, then SecDef Mark Esper said, Donald Trump, why can't he asked Mark Esper, why can't we just shoot protesters in the leg? And she asked Hegseth, would you follow this unlawful order? And he suggested that he would. This is what we're dealing with, Joy. So I'm terrified for what happens, and I don't want to sound defeated, Joy, because so many people ask us all the time, what do we do? How do we handle this? And my only response, I'm curious what you say to people when they ask you that, but what I say is build shelter, because I don't know how to stop the storm, the onslaught that is coming at us. I don't know how to stop it all. There are people and pockets of people who can stop some things and maybe slow some things, but I think as Black people, marginalized people, we have to build shelter, protect ourselves, protect our loved ones, and whatever that means by any means necessary. Because if we are to die, then I would rather die fighting before I lay on my back for these shit kicking, hate kicking, cousin dating, banjo picking, half witted idiots who have elected this dunce to the highest office of the land and put our very lives at risk, put our babies at risk. So it's devastating. And as a mother, Joy, I mean, you have 2 Black boys, you have a daughter. I can't imagine the stress that you go through. And you're such a target for them. They have such a hard on for you. It's so weird. I mean, it's like JD Vance, I wanted to say, like, how many times do you you jerk the Joy, JD? Because you can't stop thinking about her. Like, get a life.
Odd. I'm like out of nowhere asked by no one,
So random.
It's so random. Like, leave me alone.
It's
you were
so
on my show back when I was on AM Joy. I let you on the show. What more do you want?
I mean, they want your attention bad. They like, we over here, Joy. And we don't spend our time, like when we're together, we're never like, oh, I hate that JD Vance. We're like, girl, you look so good. That haircut is you. That outfit is good. We are joyful. And they really, I think, truly hate that. I write about that too.
I want to talk about this book. I want to talk about this book because, and I equate them basically to the person that opened the door in Sinners. They just let the damn
pick poor Robin clean.
All them voters, the MAGA voters, y'all are the people who open that door and let the vampires in. And so that's why we blame you for what is happening today. But I want to talk about this book because this is your second book. Your first book really dove into media and the sort of the struggle of diverse people like live in this media space. This book, first of all, the promo is bomb. I can't play the music because the music is Beyonce, and then YouTube would be like, no. But it's a beautiful promo, and it's showing so many images that are so meaningful. I love the flipping the bird.
That's what it feels like.
Yes, and of course that image of Black women sitting on the roof sipping tea or sipping wine, watching the world burn. Why did you feel the need to write this book? What is Love Me? And is it love me or is it love me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't remember which one it is.
So it is a letter to Black women, literally the subtitle, a letter to Black women and all that we're going through. And so it is not a request of Black women to love me. I'm not asking for my sisters to do what comes natural to us. We love each other on sight. The love is in our blood and bone. It's not even a request we have to ask with us. There's presumed safety. It is an offering to my sisters, a thank you to my sisters for loving me and loving you and holding us up. The confluence of my life, Joy, I found myself stuck in quicksand, in the quicksand of my life, and it was devastating to me. My show was canceled, as you know. You so bravely gave me a wonderful sign off the day that it happened. And that devastated me.
By the way, I'm still mad about it, but go on.
Yes. And I started dating someone right on cue. His picture was just on the show. I started dating someone and I thought, I've lost my show, but maybe that had to happen so I would have time for love. And then that didn't work out. And then the world at that time, this confluence of things, they just punctuated the fact that Black women are our enemy. And so at the confluence of a broken heart over a failed relationship, a broken heart over being fired essentially from my job, and the broken heart of America spitting and kicking us in the face, I was talking to our good friend Van Newkirk at the Atlantic, and I was just telling him everything I was going through. And he said, "Damn, you sound like every Black woman I know right now. You should write something." And so I sat down to write, and I have 5,000 words. So this is for women who struggle. You may not have been fired, but you struggle with work and what's happening and what we go through to participate in America's labor force and all the bullshit we have to face every damn day. We have to sheathe our faces in plastic masks and smile as a way of saying F you to people. To the women who are navigating love, whether you're married, single, dating, but the ways that we pour love into our men and we don't always feel love back by our beloved Black men. So we pour love into our career, we pour love into our men, and we pour love into a country, and it just feels unrequited. It feels like it's not being reciprocated right now. And so I just wanted to give us a mirror reflection to say, yes, sisters, I too, and I tell I'm so unfiltered, Joy, I disrobe before you all to say, I too have gone through this. And it's not a bio, it's not my story, but it's here's what happened to me, and here is the wider scope of what's happening to us. And I'm so forthcoming because I don't think that you can ask women to believe in something without being so honest. I'm not the hero in this story. There are definitely some embarrassing moments. There are some heartbreaking moments. There are people going to read things like, Tiffany act like that, or Tiffany said that, she did that. But I just wanted to be really honest and give people permission that I write about hate texting and all the messed up things I said to the guy I was dating. I write about our sister circle and what it has meant to me. And when I found myself in that quicksand, how you all like had me by my wrist and would not let me sink, like pulled me up. I was losing oxygen. It was like, no, we're going to breathe life back into you and what we do for each other. And how across the country, as America said, F you Black women, how we needn't have a call, like even though Joteka did win with Black women, but we didn't have some big group call. It was what was understood need not have been said. We understood in the moment that we need a moment to collect ourselves. And I don't want people to think that that meant that we were sitting idly. We were working and moving in silence, as many of us continue to do. So to the answer to all the questions of where are Black women, what were Black women doing, Black women at home, that's not really true. And so for the folks who wanted to know, I answered that question. This is who Black women are, and this is what we've been doing. And it is a labor of love. I have a 14-page bibliography. I did so much research. It took me 3 years to come together emotionally to write this book. And I dug so deep from a political standpoint, a personal standpoint, a mental standpoint, a spiritual standpoint. I talk about therapy. So really everything that we're going through. I do say in the book, because, amongst us, we'll say, well, we all we got. And I make a point of saying, but we not all we got. Like Joy, you have a wonderful family, a wonderful husband. Like Sonny, you got a wonderful husband at home, and we've talked about it. And it's like, yes, we have those things, but it's not like what we have among Black women. And I so feel that I love Black men. I don't want anybody to get me wrong. I love me a Black man. I love all y'all Black men, but there is nothing like the connection I have with Black women who understand me, where I can be myself, where I can exhale, where I can be braless, so to speak, and just be in the company of my sisters. So I hope this book feels like a warm blanket around women. Even the cover was intentional with all of those things. It's purple because if you combine the colors of the flag, red, white, and blue, you'll get various shades of that purple. And so that's why I have the Black woman on there. So I hope people buy the hard copy, buy the audiobook too if you want, but the hard copy was meant to be decoration on your nightstand, on your bookshelf, but I want it to be something that people wanted to display in their homes.
It's so beautiful. I cannot wait to get, I like to buy lots and lots of copies. Every time the Machetes write a book, I got like 20 of them. So I give them away as gifts, like my own copy, and then all my family always want them, and you have to sign them all. So
I'm happy to. And can I say, Joy, shout out to my editor, Krishan. Krishan Trotman, who I had a Black woman work on this book, and that was so important to me. I don't know if she's gonna work with me again because I fought her at every turn because she's was knee deep in that book, like moving sentences, but she was so hands-on and really pulled the best out of this. I mean, I would give her 100,000 words and she would get back to me 80,000, and I fought for those 20,000 and she would say no. So the entire team poured love into this book. Krishan poured so much love in this book, so I just wanted to give her a shout out.
Absolutely. Krishan is amazing. And, it's great that she is in the publishing world because, as we both know, the publishing world is very white male.
Yes.
There's not a lot of us there. And she is a rare gem that's in the business. I have 11 billion questions. This is a team now for the chat that is loving you. There's so many hearts in the chat. It's not even funny. I have a billion questions, and I know everybody wants to know all about your breakup with the artist formerly known as MSNBC. I'm gonna wait for that. This book comes out May 5th, y'all. And we are planning, because the basement, we like to do the little big tickets, the basement interviews, and we save those for our very, very special people. And we are planning to bring Tiffany in, and that's when I'm gonna ask all the questions. If you guys have questions you want me to ask in that interview, you have until May, because we're gonna do the interview. We're probably gonna record it in April, so y'all have some time to think about what you want to know. One question I will throw in, because I know people will get very angry at me if I don't ask, is when you left MSNBC, did you feel what outside folks said felt like the connection with Melissa Harris Perry, that this was systematic and that it was Melissa and then you and then ultimately me as well, that this was not just personal to you, but that it was about us?
I immediately I felt that. My first thought was of the staff, what was going to happen to my team. And then I immediately thought of the communities. Like, where else would you see Indigenous stories, AAPI stories, Latino stories, and Black stories like the ones you and I covered? And then the loud roar from everyone across America, people who I didn't even know knew me. I remember Viola Davis tweeted, "We love you, Tiffany Cross." And I'm such a huge fan of hers. Tina Knowles posted about it. I felt the love of community. So yes, it was definitely systemic. Like I said, the media likes to platform people who prioritize white comfort, which is why so many people are tuning out. I mean, increasingly so. More people are watching shows like yours. I mean, not a lot of people are watching cable news these days, and your ratings, despite what that Babblemouth Stephen A said, your ratings actually were consistently doing well, a lot better than his dumbass ratings. So people, showed up. So we knew it wasn't it wasn't because we were not successful. It wasn't because we weren't bringing eyes. It was, I think, because we were bringing eyes. I was getting 4.64 million viewers a month. That's per NBC's own research department. But I think, smart Black women with something to say who are fearless is always going to be a problem, even if they have to use another Black woman to do their bidding, to do the firing, which I also write about. I tell it all. This is my first time telling the entire story. There will be no more questions after the book, which you can order now. It comes out May 5th, but it's on pre-sale now. But yeah, I think it made it easier for them because they had a Black woman shield to hide behind, to do their bidding, unfortunately. And I don't know whatever happened to her, and I don't think a lot of other people know whatever happened to her, because that's what happens when you move in their favor. So I pictured you when I was writing this book, Joy, and there were times I really hadn't connected with my own emotions. And when I was writing about those days afterwards and writing about how you closed your show that day, like, I teared up. This book was very much therapy for me. But I also zoom out. Like, it really isn't a bio. It's not all about my story. I tell all my business, but it really is, here's what happened to me and here's what is happening to y'all. So I pray, Joy, my biggest accomplishment, if 3 people buy this book or 300,000 buy this book, I would love to make the New York Times bestseller list and all the, the accolades that go along with it. But if none of that happens, but Black women read this and feel proud, if Black women read this and feel seen and feel heard and can tap into a little extra self-love, and we can walk past the street at each other and say, yeah, I read Love Me and I connect with you on such a deeper level. I mean, that will be the pinnacle of my life, because I laid myself bare and bled on the pages, all in service to Black women. I can't stress that enough. It's all I did from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day for the past 3 years. And Native Land, of course, which I left Native Land, as you all know, But Joy is guest co-hosting Native Land this week.
Okay, thank you for reminding me because they would have gotten me. Yes, I will be guest hosting Native Land Pod on Wednesday.
Yes.
Tiffany has stepped out of Native Land Pod. She is going into her space of solo success, elevation.
I was about to say, hold on. I was about to say, because there's a lady in here named Teresa Marlene, 4374, and she's here asking, Tiff, when can we see you over here on YouTube with your own show?
This is the next question.
You know, I don't have a Jason in my life, so I'm trying to figure it out. Like,
you got it. If you,
You
can
have this,
listen, you got it.
Jason.
I got you.
but I gotta come out there every day. I am trying to build that.
We gonna work.
Okay. All right. I would like to. Then we should talk because that's what I would like to do.
Yeah.
And I just go ahead, Nathan.
No, I said I got you. I got
He
you.
got you. He got you. Go on.
Okay, I need it. And there are rumors going around about Native Land. I'm gonna just tell y'all, this is the problem with AI. So when I left the show and when I was signing on the show, my last show, and I was like, well, I'm leaving because when Bakari joined, he said in his contract he would not work with me. He said there could only be one Beyonce on this stage, and that was him. And so Bakari is saying like, I ain't say I wouldn't work with you, but I said it was gonna be a fair. We know who the fair is of the group now. So we were laughing and joking. And when you put in Google and you say, well, why did Tiffany leave Native Land? The AI response says because co-host Bakari Sellers.
Because people don't know how to take a joke. They don't understand. They want to play with our culture, but they don't understand it. AI is programmed by idiots.
So be careful with that AI. It is not accurate.
On X Twitter, y'all be careful with that grok and all that stuff.
Be careful.
Before I let you go, because we are running out of time, but this is the part where I turn to the choir, and that is my friends on Substack, all of y'all who are on YouTube, and I ask you, I don't ask y'all for much, but in this moment, I'm going to ask each and every one of you, put your hand on your computer screen. Put your hand on on your little mouse. I want you to go ahead and click.
TV remote.
Put it on the TV remote, and I want you all to pre-order Love Me. I want you to do that today. Don't do it tomorrow. Don't do it in an hour. I want you to do it now. I want you to take a moment, even if you have to step away from watching the Joy Reid Show. I need you all to pre-order this book right now because it is not maybe going to. We hope it makes the New York Times. It will make the New York Times bestseller list because we are going to make it happen. It is so important in this moment when Black women are under siege, are being driven out of the military, driven out of careers in government, federal careers. I have sources that have been in the federal government for 20 years, raised their children on their not very big federal salaries and are being driven out in this moment when we're being driven out of media, out of Hollywood, out of every space. We still have the power to hold on to each other. And if we don't use it, then we're at fault for letting our sisters fail and letting our sisters fall. And we are not going to do that. Y'all know how many times y'all have come in here and yelled at me in this chat about where's Tiffany Cross? Where's Tiffany Cross? As many times as y'all have berated Jason and me, and I've been letting her cook because she's doing her book. Now is the time when you can do something that is not just good for Tiffany, but is good for you, for your soul, because we need the affirmation and the love that Tiffany is delivering to us in this book. This book is a gift to us, and we need to receive it in the spirit in which it was given. So I'm going to ask you all right now. We have people in the chat already saying they're pre-ordering. You can go right on the Joy Reid Show store. And as a matter of fact, see, Sean be getting mad at me because I do stuff, but we have to tell people do it now. Maybe we would do free shipping. Sean, we'll ship it to you for free. If you guys go ahead.
You go again.
Remember, you're not going to get it right away.
Oh my goodness.
You're going to get the book in May. And so you're pre-ordering it now because what you're doing is you are sowing a seed into the success of this book, and you're not waiting until it comes out and then you're rushing to go get it in the bookstore and it's already sold out. You're going to go ahead and order, please. I'm asking you all now, this is a favor. I'm asking you to do it for me, please. And because of how much you love Tiffany, because this book is going to be a bestseller, period, with a T.
Praise. Thank you so much, Joy. And people, when they read the book, they will see all the things that I write about you. They will see this is why I say what I say about you. And this is why I literally, my career took a sharp incline after Joy stepped in and was my advocate. And that is, I mean, I think this relationship crystallizes what Black women are. Our entire circle. All we got to do is drop it. Y'all know how Black women do it. We're not unique. All we got to do is drop something in the group chat and we quickly turn into Olivia Pope. It's handled.
And let me not, because Tiffany loves to give me credit. The person who deserves credit is named Tracy Curry, the award-winning, brilliant filmmaker who you all may not know used to be a producer on the Melissa Harris Perry show. She's
Oscar-nominated
producer, and now she is an Oscar-nominated filmmaker. You should be following her career. She came up to me in my office and said, I have a friend named Tiffany Cross. You've got to give her an opportunity. Please book her. We booked this sister sight unseen. And then y'all friend Jason Reid saw her the first time she was on and said, I hope she's going to be a regular. That was fire. It was a family agreement. It was a family agreement. And then we had a food fight with the show that was on before ours, who then tried to book this sister away from me. We went to war with the show that was on at 8 a.m. because they started trying to book, and we were like, do not touch this. This is ours. We will fight over this sister. So what I'm telling you, Tracy Curry, big up to her. Attica is her film that was nominated for an Oscar.
The year of the slap. It happened the year of the slap. It was a category that happened when the slap happened.
And it was her versus Amir Questlove Thompson. They were both nominated in the same.
Happy birthday, Amir. Amir's birthday is coming up.
Happy birthday, Questlove. Yes.
Questlove, happy birthday.
Thompson. So they were nominated against each other, y'all. And that's when the slap happened.
Yes.
You can't make this up. Tiffany Cross, love you, sis. There's not a thing you can do about it, little sister. I cannot wait to come out here and do the full interview. And then we're going to.
I can't wait.
Questions. We love it.
I can't wait. And I hope I see you. I'll text you when I see you, but I hope I see you at Amir's birthday.
I will see you there.
Okay, good.
We're going to coordinate.
Let's ride together. Okay, perfect.
Bye,
Bye, Jason. Love you guys. Bye, Winnie, if you're in the back. Bye, everybody. And my sweet baby Nala, I love you.
This Nala's auntie, our dog Nala, that's our auntie. She's only happy when Tiffany's over. She's like, I will note that when Tiffany comes to a party at our house and Nala is not allowed to be out, she lets her out. So
I don't like it. It's Nala's house. If you go to somebody's house and you don't like dogs, you cannot ask people to put up their dog. That's the dog's house. No. I don't ask you to put up your 2-year-old when I come to your house. I don't like it. Free Nala.
Guest in your house at a party. The last thing you want is your dog around.
Don't start this debate. Don't start this debate.
I'm not going to even debate with Tiffany.
Jason,
I'm mad at you because you're the one who put Nala up. I knew you were Eve.
Bye.
Wasn't me. Bye, Tiffany.
Bye, you guys. Love you.
And love you back. No, I'm telling y'all, we had a whole thing at the New Year's party. Tiff got here and was like, where's Nala? Nala was locked up. I was like, I didn't do it. And you know what she did? She let her out.
Literally, I was like, why is Nala down here? Oh,
she freed her. She freed. Thank you all for ordering the book. Thank you, everybody who ordered the book. We appreciate all of you guys. We absolutely, absolutely love y'all. I know y'all are still not over losing Tiffany Cross on Ms. Now. We are now officially overtime. Do we have time? I don't even think we have time for Moment of Joy. Do we have time for it, Jason? Let's play it real quick. Let's play the Moment of Joy. It was Golden Globes last night.
If this is YouTube, if you want the time to play, you can play.
We'll give them a little more minute. Let's give them a couple minutes. Let's do the Golden Globes as our Moment of Joy. Lots of people won. Golden Globes were last night, and some stars. They rocked these pins. Let's show you guys the pins. D1. Let's start with D1. Show these little pins because people were out there wearing their Be Good Ice Out pins. That's Ruffalo, Mark Ruffalo, and oh, my brain.
Wanda
Sykes, the fabulous Wanda Sykes, the amazing Wanda Sykes. And they were two of the artists who wore these pins that said Be Good and Ice Out. So God bless them for doing that. But let's play some of what was said. They wore those pins to stand in solidarity with the activists who are opposing the ICE invasion of our cities. Now, some folks were annoyed that Sinners lost out on Best Screenplay and Best Director, and Ryan Coogler and did not get Best Director, and Michael B. Jordan did get Best Actor. But the film did take home 2 awards for Best Original Score as well as Best Cinematic and Box Office Achievement. And Tiana Taylor took home the award for Best Supporting Actress for her role in One Battle After Another, the film that's the favorite for the Oscar for Best Picture, which also won for Best Comedy. But you've also got to give kudos to the hostess, Nikki Glazer. She's a stand-up comedian, Nikki Glazer, for setting the tone for the night and for some of the speeches. So here they are. Ooh, is there more? No, there should be more. No?
I don't want CBS to block.
Oh, but keep playing. Reid. Oh no, we forgot the other part. Oh man, I put the wrong one in. The part that I absolutely wanted to add that I did not get to was the part where Robert De Niro said, F Trump. No, I think I missed it.
I'm going to say one thing.
Oh, really?
Fuck Trump.
Yes, Robert De Niro, everybody. Robert De Niro.
It's no longer down with Trump. It's fuck Trump.
That is our moment of joy. Robert De Niro. We could not have gone through it without our moment of joy from our favorite. We love Robert De Niro. Before we go, I want to thank you to Angela Yee for having me on Way Up with Angela Yee today. Clips of the show are available on my social media and also on this show's social media. Also want to note that this show has been nominated for an NAACP Image Award, which is pretty exciting. We're going to put the link in the show description so that you can vote away. I want to congratulate all the nominees in our category of Outstanding News and Information Podcast. That's our category, including our pal Don Lemon is nominated in that category. Our peeps at Native Land Pod, and Tiffany was still in Native Land Pod, I believe, when it was nominated. So that original OG Native Land Pod is nominated. Audie Cornish of CNN, and a show called Accidentally Informed. The telecast is in February. We're definitely going to go. So you guys have plenty of time to vote. So please vote for us, as well as like and subscribe so that we can, have a shot. It will be fun. I love the NAACP Image Awards. I actually won one just before my show on MSNBC was canceled. It's upstairs. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for all the love you gave to Tiffany Cross. I know she felt it, and also to Nala too. What?
I said her book is sold out on our show.
Is the book already sold out?
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. Y'all have already sold out the book.
We have to order more.
Good gracious. You guys have already sold out the book okay, so we're going to try to make sure that we resupply because we have a certain allocation of pre-sales. Remember, these are pre-sales. So we got a certain allocation, but it appears we've already sold them out. So if you guys want to give us, we're going to see if we can get some more. Give us 24 hours and we're going to try to restock. We have to now reach out to the people during daytime and we will make sure we get more so you guys can sell out a second time. Make sure that we get this book to be a New York Times bestseller, guys. We can do this. Let's do it. Book's already sold out.
I think
Brilliant
might
job.
Be able to get it up sooner than 24 hours.
Okay, so we're going to check again. Give us until like 10 p.m. Give us till 10 p.m. and then log back into the Joy Reid Show shop, which is shop.joyandreid.com, and go back and you can get the rest of y'all done bought all the books. Y'all got our whole allocation. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you Wednesday. I want to note that Wednesday's show will feature Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams will be featured on Wednesday's show. It should be really, really interesting. We're also going to have Dr. Vin Gupta is going to return to talk about all of these changes to ACA and to your healthcare. Yes, and the members on, and then on and to your healthcare. So if you guys want to have questions, if you have any questions about the changes to ACA, if you have Obamacare, if you need to buy health, if you're worried about how that's going to play out, you really need to tune in on Wednesday. That's going to be in the 7:00 hour. Leah Littman is going to be in our 6:00 hour as we go through Stacey Abrams' breakdown of the 10 steps toward autocracy. We'll find out what stage we're at. And then on Friday, 10 steps to autocracy. And then on Friday, we do our members only friends, readers with benefits chat on Friday. So Stacey Abrams Wednesday with Leah Littman, Dr. Vin Gupta also Wednesday. And on Friday, members only chat. If you are not yet a member, you still have until Friday to become a member. And that also includes the upper tier readers members on Substack. We're going to do a chat an hour just with you guys after this Friday show. So this Friday at 8 p.m., we're just going to chat with y'all. All right. I think I've given all the housekeeping and that's it. Thank you for buying all of our stock of Tiffany's pre-order books. And we'll see you guys on the next Joy Reid Show. Good night. Love y'all. Much love.
Getting back to the basics, grassroots level. Let me dig a little deeper with the shovel. Plenty can't tell the forest from the trees, and I'm hard to detect, like a black hole in the dark. Injustice anywhere, it's a threat to justice everywhere. Let me make this clear, I got a bone to pick, and I'll never fear the threat of poverty. They don't want to talk about it, they rather party, so I'm a real talk about it, for sure.